and welcome back to the light side of the paranormal. I'm Alice.
And I'm Jenna, and welcome to a new series on our channel for the whole month of November that we are calling Clairvoyant.
So for each week in November, we will be going over all 4 psychic abilities that are called the clairs.
So the clairs are clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairsentience, and clairaudience. There are more than 4 clairs, but these are the most common psychic abilities. So for each week, we will be touching on each one of these psychic gifts.
Not everyone has all 4 of these abilities within themselves. Most of the time, people will connect with 1 or 2 more than all of them. So don't get discouraged if not all of these abilities resonate with you.
So join us through this month of Clairvoyant to find out if you have any of the main 4 psychic abilities.
So please enjoy this week's Clair.
So this week we are going to be talking about clairvoyance, and clairvoyance is clear sight or clear seeing. A lot of people also call clairvoyance or associate clairvoyance with having their third eye open or seeing through their third eye. So if you ever hear people talk about opening their third eye, that's also kind of like opening their clairvoyance. Or seeing things through their third eye, that's seeing things, through the mind's eye. So what does it mean to have clairvoyance or to be clairvoyant?
Clairvoyance is a way of gaining information through mediumship or psychically.
Just to briefly touch on this, if you don't know a lot of these terms, being psychic and being a medium, or like Alice said, getting information psychically or through mediumship, those are 2 different things. Getting information psychically would be like getting information from the greater divine, the greater being, the universe, whatever you want to believe that is the greater source out there. You're getting this information from that. Whereas mediumship is where a human that has passed, or an animal or an entity of some sort has passed, they are no longer living, they make contact with you. So the difference being that psychic information is information from the greater consciousness that you are receiving, and mediumship information is receiving messages from the dead, which those 2 things are completely separate from your intuition, where absolutely everybody has intuition, and that is referring to your gut feeling. So, or when your gut is just telling something. Every human is equipped with intuition to, help you feel out the right and the wrong and the good and the bad. So that can go hand in hand with psychic abilities, but intuition is something we all have and that we can all learn to use, and not necessarily receiving psychic information. If you didn't really know the difference between those things. So psychic mediums, you hear people say they're a psychic medium, they do both. They receive information psychically through angels, the divine, the greater consciousness. They also can communicate with your loved ones that have passed. Some people are just psychic, some people are just mediums. And everybody has intuition.
So all of the clairs, including clairvoyance, are considered to be psychic skills. Now, skills can be strengthened and developed over time, so we hope that these videos that you'll be watching this month can help you do exactly that.
Some people think that, if you've never had a clairvoyant experience in your life, you can make it happen. But I feel like you were either born with it or not. You can strengthen it, but I don't think everybody was born with it. I think everyone was born with some type of psychic gift, but I don't think if you weren't born with the psychic gift of clairvoyance, I'm not sure if that's something you could grow out of nothing.
Right.
Whereas some people definitely believe you could.
This is true. It's sort of a toss-up. Everyone has different beliefs around this part of it. I personally think that everyone has a clair ability within themselves, but it's just about finding which one resonates best with you, or one that comes most easily to you.
And that it can be strengthened. But
Yeah.
to grow it out of nothing, something that wasn't there, I'm not sure if that's doable.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, who's to say, right? Like, it's a very abstract topic.
And A, you won't know until you try.
Yeah.
And B, we're going to be going over who is most likely to be clairvoyant. We'll be going over that later in this video, so you can find out too if any of these points resonate with you and something that you can relate to, and realize if this is a clair that works really well for you. So there are many experiences that fall under the umbrella of clairvoyance, but just to give some examples, some people can see dead people. Some people can see shadow people. Some people can see orbs. Some people can see the auras. Some people even have dreams that are prophetic, like they come true after they've dreamt it. It happens. So these are all examples of things that would fall under the very large umbrella of clairvoyance.
So somebody who is clairvoyant might see a spirit sitting in a chair, whereas the person right next to them has no clairvoyant abilities or very low clairvoyant abilities, and they would say, "What person?"
Yeah, I don't see anything there.
Yeah.
That happens to me and my husband all the time. Signs that you might be clairvoyant often come from your experience as a child. A lot of the time, children will be more open to these abilities. They haven't shut them out or shut them off. So I'm going to go over some things that you may or may not have experienced as a child, but this doesn't stay limited to your child self. This can carry forward into your adult life as well. Signs that you might be clairvoyant are if when zoning out, you can see a glowing colored light around a person. It sort of would appear more of like, in my opinion, like a fog or like a haze of color around a person. My experience with it has not been like really opaque and really solid. Mm-hmm. Would you say that?
Yeah. It's like a glow.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's
everybody's
like a glow.
different. But
Yeah.
seeing an aura, which often is easier when you're a child, and you just like, in class, you're like staring at somebody else, and you can see this, energy around them.
Mm-hmm. You'll often see orbs. Now, oftentimes in like paranormal photography and things like that, orbs are very common, and they basically just look like little balls of light. So sometimes you can see those balls of light, not just in a photo, but in your everyday kind of existence. Seeing spirits or ghosts, seeing shadow people. If you had an imaginary friend that you could see that your parents or other people in your life could not see, it is a very high possibility that you have clairvoyant abilities.
Even if you don't remember seeing them, but having a parent or someone in your life telling you that when you were little, you used to talk about this person or this friend that they couldn't see, oftentimes you might have been interacting with an actual spirit.
If you saw magical, mystical things like fairies and gnomes, if when you close your eyes, especially when you're trying to go to sleep, if you see colorful shapes, geometric patterns, things like that are keeping you awake, or just in the dark as well, with your eyes open, if you can see those shapes as well, that is a very big sign. That happened to you a lot, didn't it?
Sorry, I'm like, I'm seeing shapes now from this ring light. Yeah, I remember being really little and being able to close my eyes. No, actually, sorry. I remember being really little and being able to turn the lights off and have complete darkness and go under the blankets and see all these beautiful colors and shapes and lights, and it was like a galaxy. It was so beautiful. And like as an adult being like, what was I seeing, and trying, and I don't see that anymore, but I used to do it on purpose. I used to go to bed to see the lights.
That's so cool.
It was cool.
If when speaking you catch yourself saying things like I see or I am seeing instead of I feel or
I know.
I know, yeah. And for those of you that may be watching this video, if you practice tarot or oracle reading, you may catch yourself when doing a reading for someone saying things like, I'm seeing that your life is, or I see that you're going through, things like that, rather than they're telling me, or I know, like that. If you're visually impressed by things. Now, what I mean by this is, if you're watching a movie and you're like, oh, that was such a visually pleasing movie, like I loved the costumes, or oh, I loved the hair, and you weren't necessarily paying as much attention to the music, for example, you're really focused on the way that the movie looks. This is often very common for people who would say that they're very particular about the way that their home looks, or about the way that they themselves look, with style and the way that things are visually. They're visually impressed by things. If you experience deja vu often, that is not normal or common, and you probably have clairvoyance. And finally, if you receive prophetic visions or have prophetic dreams. And what that means is sort of like what I touched on earlier as well, where you have a vision, almost like a movie style clip in your mind, and you don't maybe necessarily understand it, and then say a few days later you realize that that is like you're seeing that now in present moment. And also if you are just actually dreaming or even daydreaming, and you think, oh well, that was just a dream, but it actually ends up happening.
I think a lot of people who are clairvoyant are big daydreamers. You can sit there and visualize and see full scale scenarios in your head. When you're in the shower, you're doing mundane things, but you are visualizing. Most people who are, if not all people who are clairvoyant, are really good at visualizing things and holding that visualization in their mind. Because it's hard for a lot of people to focus on one thing, to conjure it in their mind out of nothing, and to hold that vision there. So people who are good at that are usually clairvoyant and spend a lot of time daydreaming and visualizing certain scenarios and such.
Yeah. Now we'll move into how to strengthen your clairvoyance, and also just the reality of what it's like to be experiencing it.
So one thing that we are going to say throughout all of these Clairvember videos is that when you want to strengthen any psychic ability, the best place to start is with meditation. Not everybody has the time to meditate daily, but even starting with like twice or 3 times a week consistently, because when you start doing it here and not doing it there, it becomes inconsistent and there's no strengthening going on. It's just back and forth. So if you can keep a consistent schedule of meditation, there are many, many benefits to that. But we are going to say, for the purpose of our Clairvember videos, that when you want to strengthen any psychic ability, start with meditation. If you don't know how to meditate, there are amazing, amazing videos on YouTube to help you do that. There are audio clips that you can put into your earbuds and listen to that will help you with like a guided meditation if you don't know how to do a meditation on your own yet, but just start with something.
And if strengthening any one of these clairs is something that feels like a priority to you, it's good to make time to meditate. So with your first meditation with intentions of strengthening your clairvoyance, you're going to want to just silence the mind and body, close your eyes, do not ignore any messages, thoughts, visions, any of that that are coming to you. You may want to completely brush it off, but pay attention to what you're seeing and what you're experiencing during this meditation and this quiet moment. The next very important part of strengthening your clairvoyance would be to practice visualization. And as Jenna had said earlier, not all people find this very easy. If you find visualization easy, it's definitely possible that you have clairvoyance. So this is what you're going to want to do. So again, closing your eyes. This is going to force you to only be using your third eye and not using your other eyes.
Number 1 and number 2.
Yeah.
We're using number 3.
Yeah. Start with objects, then with places, and then with routines or scenarios. And what I mean by that is, when you're a beginner in meditation and visualization, you need to start small. You can't just like, you know, as much as it's good to reach for the stars and be ambitious, that's awesome. But if you want this to actually like stick with you and really work well for you, it's good to start small. So try visualizing an object first. And Jenna is going to tell you an example of what that would be.
Yeah. So if you want to close your eyes and picture seeing a red apple. So you want to hold that picture of the red apple in your head. For some people it might have a cartoony kind of look to it. For some people it might be really, really realistic. You want to look at that inside your head with your eyes closed. You want to picture that red apple. Can you see the shine on it? Does it have any bumps? Does it have a stem? Does it have a leaf? You're going to want to try and visualize it and hold on to that picture of this apple for a good chunk of time without letting it go. If it's hard for you to hold on to, relax, take a few breaths, picture it back. And then after you've done this for maybe a minute or 60 seconds, which, I mean, same thing. So take a few breaths, let that go, picture something else. Now you're going to picture a telephone, old school telephone. What does it look like? Is it rotary? Does it have buttons? What color is it? Is it shiny? Does it have a cord? Stuff like this. It's very, very tedious, and you're picking out each specific detail about this object, but this is what the exercise is all about. Moving on from that, you're going to want to picture maybe a person, somebody you really enjoy. What's their hair like? What does it look like? What color of eyes do they have? Is it a woman? Are they wearing makeup? Stuff like that. And then on to
even touching on the person, even picture like expressions that their face makes specifically. Like everyone has different mannerisms and expressions with their face. So picture, like if they do like a little smirk or like, all of
like
these little details.
Your partner, when they smile, when they're really happy, picture that in your head. Stuff like that. Picture your favorite place. Is it your bedroom? You have your fireplace in there and your bed and stuff like that. And then full scenarios like, if I went to the grocery store today and I tripped and fell in the middle of the grocery store, start to finish, what would that look like?
Or even like walking up to your front door, or standing in front of your house, walking through your house from the front door to the back door. What does that look like? Picture that scenario in your mind.
I just love how like different like our picturing like scenarios.
Yeah.
You're like, picture your home. Like, picture what embarrassing event could happen to you when you go to the grocery store tomorrow.
Aww. But it just goes to show how individualistic all of this is, right? Yeah. So I think it's good that we both kind of have different examples. Mm-hmm. So all of these visualization exercises that you've been doing now, now that you've paused this video and done it, eventually and with practice, you'll experience things without needing to concentrate, and sometimes even without needing to close your eyes. So that would be like a more strengthened form of clairvoyance. Because I don't know about you, but I find that's how my visions happen. Like it's like that visualization, but like it just like pops in front of me now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like it's almost like someone's gone like this.
Yes, exactly.
Like a.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what have I seen? Sometimes I don't even know
like
what I've seen.
Those viewfinders from the 90s.
But just for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. But but also, without even closing your eyes, you can stare and see that apple right in front of you without closing your eyes. I mean, that's the goal, is to be able to visualize with your eyes open.
Exactly. Yes. And from this topic, it is important to note that visualization and clairvoyance, or clear seeing rather, are different things. Like, I would say that visualization is when you're concentrating, trying to strengthen, right, your clairvoyance, But like Jenna said, clairvoyance is when you don't need to try it, you just see.
Unlike the other clairs, which we'll touch on in the weeks coming, with clairvoyance, you know that it's real because you don't just conjure these things up. Yes, so clairvoyance is one of the clairs that you can't really deny, like you're seeing it, whereas something like, which we will touch on later, clairsentience is a feeling that you would get. So then you second guess yourself and think, well, did I make that feeling up? You can't really make up a vision or a dream. You know, they just happen. They're hard to deny. So it's not like you can second guess and be like, did I mean, if your ego had to think about this and you know, be like, oh my gosh, what if I fell? And, oh my gosh, I'm seeing myself falling in the grocery store.
Did this happen? Like, who hurt you?
Yeah. That's your trauma.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Watch, you're gonna fall in the grocery store tomorrow. If you had to conjure it up in your mind, that's your ego getting involved. That's yourself. That's not something else sending you information or showing you something. So you will know when it's not you.
So these visions that you may be experiencing could be actual images, like where the image is just placed in front of you. You could have your vision of an image in the room that you're in, or it could be a short movie style clip where you're sort of, how do I even explain that in words?
It's like you're shown like a 5-second movie reel in front of your eyes, and then you're like, what am I supposed to do about that?
Where it almost feels like a dream, where you're getting that sort of like motion picture experience.
But you're awake.
But you're awake, yeah. So while you're getting started with clairvoyance and strengthening your abilities, or any of the clairs really, I believe that it's important to keep a special journal to mark your progress and show your journey. Sometimes you'll get visions or information that will come to you in the most inopportune of times. You don't always have time to like sit there and like meditate with that vision and things like that. It just sort of happens. So if you keep a journal with you, you can quickly jot that down and get back to that when you have a moment.
Yeah, or even in your phone or something, keep something there, because you will find they will start with very small little things, and you could look back next week or next month or something and be like, I'm doing all this work and nothing's happening. Like, I feel like nothing's happening because I do that. And then I go back and look through my journal and I'm like, holy crap, like lots of stuff has happened. They're just very little that your brain chooses to forget them because it's not big enough for your brain to remember these things, right? It's not, it's information that you don't absolutely need to hang on to. So it's nice to look back and see, you know, like when I first started, they were little things, but now, you know, they're growing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you need to constantly be reminding yourself of your progress so you don't feel discouraged, because it doesn't happen in a day.
No, not at all. Years. It could be years. But, you know, if you want it bad enough, you know, if this is not your strong suit, stay tuned for the other clairs, because there might be something else that really, really resonates with you. Not everybody is clairvoyant. A lot of people want to be clairvoyant, but unfortunately it's just not the reality.
Well, that is all of the information we have about clairvoyance. If there is something that we didn't touch on that you want to know more about that falls under the umbrella of clairvoyance, please comment that down below.
And like I said earlier, if you're looking to practice meditation and, you know, more exercises or guided exercises on strengthening your clairvoyance, there's a lot of videos and there's a lot of guided meditations and guided exercises where you can put your earbuds in and you can close your eyes and they will talk you through visualizations. So if you have a hard time, you know, visualizing it on your own without having somebody next to you coaching you, telling you what to visualize, there are videos for that, and there are videos for guided meditations that, you know, during these meditations you are going to try and open your third eye or open your clairvoyant abilities. So the only thing else that I have to say about that is that, you know, make sure that you're ready. Lots of people warn you about opening your third eye because once it's open you can't close it, or It's a lot of stuff. Just make sure that, you know, you are mentally and spiritually protected and prepared to start opening gifts that you might not be able to so easily close off. Make sure that you want this. Make sure you feel safe. Make sure you feel protected. Make sure that you are ready to do this.
And always have intentions of love and light.
The most positive, yes, the most positive intentions. If you are going into this scared that you're going to see a ghost after you do these exercises, scared that you are going to see a spirit, you're going in it with a scared mentality, that's not good.
It doesn't have to be scary.
No, but if you are scared to even do it, then that just shows you that you're not ready. You want to make sure that you're not scared, that you feel safe, that you feel protected, that you are confident, that you can, you know, not get scared when you see these things that you are going to start seeing. Not that we're saying, like, you know, do this and you will see something, but you know what I mean? Like, you never know.
Just as an example.
Yeah, just make sure that you are ready and that you are okay with this. If this scares you at all, don't do it. You know, spend the next few months, the next few however long, just learning how to not be scared about it, and learning how to properly protect yourself so that you aren't scared over this stuff.
And as much as we super appreciate that you're watching this video and following us through Clairvember, we do encourage you to do a lot of research outside of this as well.
Yes.
There is so much information out there on clairvoyance, so it's just really good to always be looking for more information and more answers.
Yes. If you feel passionate about anything, you should research it, you should study it, and you should know as much as you can about it before, you know, you start taking action on it.
Well, we hope that this allowed you to get started with your journey.
Yeah, and we hope that this was informative, and make sure that you give us a like if we, you know, helped you kind of understand a little bit more when it comes to psychic abilities and psychic terms. And make sure to subscribe to our channel if this kind of content interests you, and, you know, click that notification bell so that you can get notified every time that we upload.
To keep up with the clairs.
Yeah, for the whole month of Clairvember. And don't forget to always live your life with love and light. We'll see you next week. Bye.